Welcome back to another episode of the Day to Day with Daidrien podcast, ladies and gents. I'm your host, Daidrien Johnson, and to my new listeners, welcome to the collective. Welcome home. Today's topic is romantic homicide. This episode is tailored for the kings, but my queens, your feedback is still valued and needed. So sit back, keep an open mind, and enjoy. And as for the men, hear me and hear me clearly. My job is to recultivate a better society and make men better. And the best way to do that is to lead by example. And the best way to do that is to lead by my mistakes, not my accolades, because it is my mistakes that got me there in the first place. Okay, you're not going to find your answers in the light. You find them in the dark. Happiness isn't something you need to learn. It comes naturally. One of the most important decisions you will ever make is who you choose to spend your time with. So let me tell you how to do that. And it starts with your mindset. Your mindset is your foundation. And with a shaky foundation, you have a house of cards. A good mindset will help you take the right action most of the time. But a negative mindset will send your house of cards tumbling down every time, forever lost in the wind. Your mindset is most important when it comes to your dating life, and here's why. If you unconsciously adopt a negative mindset, like, I need women to prove my self-worth, and stay with me, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Let's say you don't get a text back from her all day. Your mind starts flooding with insecurity. Has she figured me out? Or maybe I knew I wasn't good enough. That's very common, okay? Or who does she think she is? To try to rationalize her not texting you back. And right now your house of cards is blowing in the wind. So what do? Some men block. Okay, you block her on whatever. Or you start telling yourself you deserve better. You can't believe she's being so inconsiderate. Or maybe this is a good one. Everyone keeps their phone on them. If she wanted to, she would have hit me back already. But if you're someone who doesn't keep all your eggs in one basket, you may not feel this way. I mean, why would you? You don't feel anything anyway. This is why you don't latch on to just one. If she doesn't hit me back, that's cool. I'm already waiting to hear back from another one anyway, type mindset. Or, she's cool. I didn't want her anyway, type mindset. All because the pain would be too great. So great that you wouldn't be allowed to change the channel. But when you get back from reality, I'll be here to welcome you. But when she's ready to respond and say she was studying for a test she had to take in the morning at 8 a.m., it says user not found. You see, with a bad mindset, it doesn't matter how successful you are with women. The second you have a negative signal from a girl, it can trigger a downward spiral. This is because your confidence and self-worth is dependent on the approval of women. I've already talked about the mind and how to rewrite your paradigm. And once you acknowledge you have one, you already rewrote it. I already told you how much or how powerful the subconscious mind is and what it controls. If you haven't heard it, the episode is called Empower Yourself. And with a good mindset, you're more likely to say the right thing in your conversation, leading to the results that you want. Most men build their foundation on quicksand instead of something solid. If you don't have control over your mind, you don't have control over your life. If you don't have control over your life, then you don't have control over your dating life. The average guy won't have the success with women he craves, to be honest. So let me tell you what those odds look like. You meet a few girls through friends or at college and date around. Then you'll go on and meet a few women on the job that you're working at and maybe date around. Occasionally go out, have a few drinks, and get lucky. And this is usually with a woman who is below your standards. And if your woman finds out, if you have one, she's going to be like, there's no way you cheated on me with this creature. And she'll leave you, all while questioning her self-confidence. And now the next man has to deal with that. And if he's new to dating, that relationship will fail because he's unaware of the signs, or he'd be controlled thinking this is what love is. And he'll go on and repeat the cycle, unaware of the damages he's causing, until he can find his self-awareness if he's lucky, or until a young woman destroys him bad enough to change his ways. And then he'll stay single for a while. You'll get tired of the single life and start dating someone you already knew from your social circle, or maybe an okay girl from a dating app, definitely below your standards. One you're not excited about, so you don't give her the attention she deserves, causing her to feel subconscious about herself. And this cycle will continue over and over and over until you get with the girl you think is the best you can do, and then she destroys you. Now, some men get on the podcast and tell you their side of the story or whatever fits their narrative, ultimately insinuating that all women are the same or the hatred for women. And men collectively tune in because they can relate to the pain. And since they relate to it, it has to be truth to it, because I felt the same way. And wait a minute, this happened to you too? So now collectively, y'all are not realizing that you're becoming a victim of your own paradigm, resulting in the same results you've been getting. And by definition, doing something over and over and over again, expecting a different outcome, is the definition of insanity. I would have been crazy if I led with that at the beginning of the podcast, huh? But this cycle repeats itself, and most men become highly dependent on the woman who stumbles into their life through work, friends, or night outs. If you don't know who you are, you don't know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. But if you follow me, I won't let that happen. I won't quit on you, because I know what it feels like to be quitted on. Now remember, your mind dictates your thoughts. Your thoughts dictate your actions, and your actions dictate your results. With that being said, let's take some action. Step 1, this is your mindset. You're responsible for your life and your circumstances. We've all failed with women, regardless if it was our fault or not. You have to remove the blame and take responsibility. And with this mindset, you will look for the lesson, not the problem. So now write down 2 things in your life that you feel like you're not taking full responsibility for, and write down how to take control of those things and start there. Now, step 2, I am enough and I don't need the approval of anything or anyone else. These will be your daily affirmations, and be sure you say them every day and write them out so that you can see them, and say it until you believe it, and then say it some more. Now I want you to find 2 most important values about yourself and rate them. Rate yourself on each value, and then think of how you can improve on them. You have to write it out and make it plain. An idle mind is a devil's playpen. You just can't think about this stuff. You have to make it plain. Now step 3, find a purpose. This is most important, right below mindset. Women know when they're talking to a man with a purpose because they have a different look in their eyes. You need a mission outside of women. Otherwise, you will be too tempted to give up on your passions and your direction and focus completely on women. How can she submit to you when you have no mission to submit to? That's what submission means, together under the same mission. Some men use that word submission as a derogatory term to make women feel inferior, but not over here. So be careful with the information you consume, especially from red pill creators. Now the last step, step 4, and you have to practice this. But in order to do that, you have to be in the right mindset. You have to get that she's not into me mindset out of your head. Those words are no longer in your vocabulary. They're non-existent. Most women aren't going to come up to you and tell you they like you. This poses as a problem for most guys, especially if they're on the newer end of the spectrum, as I was, because you spend your time searching for signs that a woman is attracted to you, all while you don't even really understand how to read those signs. And you know what the result is? You move slower with women as you struggle to read the signs, and when you don't get the signs you think you need, you avoid making a move. And in doing so, you lose your chance on her. Take it from me, I already hit my head, so you don't have to. And if you know me, I know what you're saying. Gee, Daidrien, take your own advice. Well, before I do that, I need to take action and be courageous enough to accept that I might be wrong, but try anyway. I must be aware enough to acknowledge my mistakes and kind enough to myself to forgive myself, and wise enough to share my advice. So with that being said, learn from my mistakes, because you won't live long enough to make them all yourself. But anyway, here's the solution to that. You should always assume attraction from all women until proven otherwise. Now be smart about this and don't cross the line. Don't do too much. But with the right mindset, you'll be all right. But once you get started with the steps above, your approach and conversation will come naturally. But the hard part is mastering the mind, and once you do that, it's all yours. And don't have hope, have faith. Hope is like the sun. If you believe in it only when you see it, you will never make it through the night. Fellas, she's a simple woman made to look complicated by a man who isn't enough to provide the things she deserves. There is a male inside a female, Mr. and every Mrs. He inside of each she. which proves a man can't live without a woman. So don't lie to yourself. Nobody wants to be alone. I want to read you a quote from Whitney Hansen. And she said, and I can't make this up, she said, "You don't have commitment issues. I know you think you do, but you must realize not committing is simply committing to something else. Every commitment has a counter commitment. If you don't jump into the river, you are committing to stay on land. If you are not afraid of commitment, you are afraid to take the risk. If you are afraid to drown, I hope you find what you're looking for on land." That is my time, ladies and gentlemen. And make it a great day and night. The choice is yours. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Day to Day with Daidrien podcast. I really hope that it left you inspired and informed, and I really hope that it left you ready to take on new challenges. If you enjoyed what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review, because it's your feedback that helps me keep going. And I want to say thank you for being the best part of my podcast community. I could not be here without you guys. And with that being said, goodbye for now.